In this video, we're going to be diagnosing and hopefully fixing a head gasket in a 2006 Dodge Dakota 4.7 liter V8. Also, in this video, I've got all brand new parts. After we fix it, hopefully fix it, we're going to be tearing apart the radiator, the thermostat, all the hoses, the water pump, and we're going to see if this stuff right here, and it's got fiber in it, we're going to be testing, cut out all the old parts and see if this has gummed up anything after we hopefully fix it. Now, I bought this truck used, and the problem is it doesn't overheat, but after driving it a while, the coolant level does drop. And I noticed after driving a while, you can see this splattering around the cap, and then it continues over here, kind of like a 360-degree radius around this cap. It seems like the coolant system is getting pressurized and blowing out coolant out of the radiator cap. So I think I have a head gasket leak. There's a couple symptoms to check. The oil, see if it's milky. My oil's not milky, so it's not getting into the oil. I think I've got a very slight head gasket leak, but to test it foolproof, we're going to be using a head gasket tester kit. So it comes with this blue liquid and this plug and this little test tube. So you put this liquid in here, and it makes a little P-trap here at the bottom with fluid. On a cold engine, you take your radiator cap off, put this plug on it, zip tie it down with the fluid in it. On a cold engine, you crank it, and that fluid will turn green with exhaust gases, carbon monoxide. So if you've got a head gasket leak and any of the exhaust gases push through the head gasket into the coolant system, it's going to all the exhaust gases are going to bubble through, and the only way for the pressure to escape is going to be out the cap, and then it's going to come up through here, bubble through this blue liquid, and then out. And as the engine warms up, if the fluid senses any kind of exhaust gases, the fluid will turn green. We know we got a head gasket leak. This fluid is the most accurate way to actually test if you've got a head gasket leak. The person I bought this off of, they had sales receipts where they had a new radiator cap put on it. So that's a new cap. Evidently it was using a little bit of coolant with him, and he took it somewhere. They done a leak down test, and it passed the leak down test. They put a new cap on it, but it's still over pressurizing and blowing out of the cap. Now, I highly doubt two caps are bad, so I think it's got a head gasket leak. But this is the foolproof way to test it, and that stuff's cheap. I'll link it. It's on Amazon. So that's what it looks like. Cold engine, rubber plug. You want to make sure it's tight. That way, as the engine warms up and it expands, there's no gases that get by this plug. So zip tie the plug down, and then you put this thing in there kind of tight, put some liquid in it, and as it heats up, if we have any exhaust gases, everything, the coolant system is going to expand, and the air, the only place it can expand to is through there. So I'll show you cold engine. That's my temperature gauge. It's water temp. That's going to be going to a transmission temp, but right now it's just laid under the hood. So that's ambient temp, coolant temp. We'll go ahead and crank it and let it run for about 15 minutes and see if that blue fluid turns green. I may have put a little bit too much in here, but if any bubbles out, it's going to be fine. I think I just put a little bit too much in. But you can see where it's pushing this fluid through that way, because as the engine's warming up, and maybe even the head gasket doing that, it's causing a positive pressure in the coolant system, and the only place for it to escape is through here.
Hyperlapse.
I just turned the truck off. You could see about halfway through when I let off the gas too quick, it sucked a little bit of fluid back in. But now we're hot enough. The thermostat opened. My temperature gauge said 185. So right now we got right there at the end, it pushed all the air out and coolant come in there a little bit. So the color's a little bit off because it got some coolant in there, but I'll pause the video right before that coolant went in there and you'll see it's starting to turn a little bit green. So it definitely has a very, very slight head gasket. That was 15 minutes. You know, that was a sped up video, but it was actually 15 minutes of it running. I was just holding it about 2,000 RPM to help get it warmed up quicker, so I didn't have to have a 30-minute video. But it appears I've got a very small head gasket leak, and I will show you. I'll pour some of this in a spoon and hold it up to the tailpipe and show it turn green. So I've got some of this fluid in a spoon, and just to show you that the fluid does react with carbon monoxide, I'm just going to hold it up to the tailpipe and it'll start turning green. Just like that, our blue fluid is now green. And for color comparison, you can see, you know, green versus blue, so stuff works. Now, Bars Leak offers a couple different versions of their head gasket repair, and I went back and forth with an email with them. I'll show it on the screen now, and they pretty much said the stuff that I have, they said that this with the carbon fiber reinforcements, the best for coolant pressurization. So if you got a blown head gasket, it's getting over into the coolant. They said this is the strongest stuff. You can email the guys and they're very helpful and help you pick which product is right. This stuff right here, it will be linked in the description, as well as this Radiator flush. So why do we use Radiator flush? So if you have a head gasket leak, there's a potential for coolant to get in the oil. Mine is not that bad, but if coolant can get in the oil, oil can also get in the coolant, and then coolant also has oil in it as well. So we're going to flush it, fill it up with water, flush it, and then we're going to add this Radiator flush and degreaser, so it's going to chemically get rid of any scale or oil in the coolant system. So whenever you add this, there's no oil residue. And all this is sodium silicate, which is liquid glass. And how it works is, let's say you have a head gasket leak and the piston comes up, flashes that extreme hot point right there where the head gasket is leaking. It tries to push it through the sodium silicate. In liquid form, all the moisture burns off of it, evaporates, and all that's left is the glass, sodium silicate, which is glass. All that's left is the glass, and over time, as it leaks into the cylinder and it gets super hot, the coolant evaporates, and all that's left is the glass, and slowly fills that hole in with glass, which is actually harder than the head gasket. So let's go ahead and drain all this, flush it out, fill it with water, flush it out, and then we'll be adding this, drive it a little bit, flush it out. We're going to fill it back up with water and this, and drive it and do what the instructions say. And once it's done draining, now we need to get rid of all the coolant in the expansion tank. You can see down in there, it's pretty dirty. See crud floating around. So just get a transfer pump. These things are awesome, and you can use them for gasoline or whatever you want, and they're battery operated. Got a link in the description for it. And just like that, get rid of everything in the expansion tank. So we've got our drain plug out of it, and now we're just going to do this on a cold engine. You don't want to put cold water into a hot engine. The engine's cold right now. If you put cold water on hot metal, it expands and contracts at different rates. It could potentially crack or something like that. Probably unlikely, but just to be on the safe side, don't put cold water into a hot engine. Truck has been off for about an hour now. Everything's cooled down. Got the plug out. We're just going to flush it. Same thing for this. I'll fill this up a couple times and use my transfer pump and clear it out. And then whenever it's pretty clean, I'll fill it completely up with water again, go drive it. That way the thermostat opens, go down the road, and it circulates everything in it. Then we'll drain it, and then we'll fill it up with the etching degreaser cleaner. And then when we drain that, then we'll put the head gasket repair in. So we got it filled up with just pure water right now, cold engine, 78 degrees. We'll run it down the road real quick until the thermostat opens. I just got a 185 degree thermostat in the truck, so when it gets to 185 there on the top one, we'll know it's cycled through, and then we'll come back, drain it, and then we'll refill it up with water and that system flush. Alright, we've reached max temp, 186, 187. Now that we got everything drained, it is time for the radiator flush. Let's read the directions here. Starting with a cool engine, remove radiator cap, open drain cock, and drain cooling system. We've already done that, and then we flushed it with water and drained it again. Now, close radiator drain cock and add this stuff. Top off cooling system with water, replace radiator cap. This can treat systems up to 12 quarts. My truck takes 16 quarts, so I just got two jugs of this. Start engine and run with heater on max for 20 minutes. For deeper radiator cleaning, drive your vehicle for 1 to 2 hours. Product can remain in the system for up to 4 hours. Well, it's been 30 minutes. I drove it down the highway. I just turned the truck off. Now I'm going to drain it. I just took the radiator cap off, and you can see it foaming in there. I guess it's that acid going to work. I guess that's why it says you don't let it sit longer than 4 hours, because you can see it bubbling all that scale away. Alright, here we go. Head gasket seal. Time to pour it in. So the instructions say, install on a cold engine, which it is, shake bottle well, which I have, remove a radiator cap, pour the correct amount of product per the dosage chart. This is the whole bottle for me. Fill radiator and reservoir overflow tank to proper level and reinstall radiator cap. So that's what I'm going to do. Stuff's pretty thick. It looks like glitter. I guess that's the reinforcement fibers. I think it said they're ceramic. And we just top it off with water. That's full. Now fill up the expansion tank. Now we're going to crank it and run it till it gets up to normal operating temp. And that way the thermostat will open up. And it says to do it with the heater on. You can see cold engine, 84 degrees. Got the heater on high. You can see that factory gauge slowly moving up. There's another YouTuber, Chris Fix.
Hey guys!
Whenever he done it, it almost like it gummed up the thermostat, and his engine got a little bit hot before the thermostat opened up. So I'll be watching it pretty close to make sure this thing doesn't get too hot and that stuff didn't clog up the thermostat. Something that's interesting I've noticed, we're at 158, almost 160 degrees, and my heater is like room temperature. So we'll see if when the thermostat opens up, if my heat comes back. So it looks like it's at operating temp. It doesn't look like it's getting any higher, which is good. The weird thing is I don't have hardly any heat, where before it would run you out of here. So I'm gonna give it another minute or two at this operating temp, then I'll shut it off like it says. So I revved it up a little bit to like 1500 RPM, just like that. And now my heat's back and it's getting hotter by the second. So whatever was clogged up, it's now unclogged, which is good. And it never overheated. Been hovering around 183 to 188. So yeah, the heat's super hot right now. So it looks like the thermostat opened up all the way. My heat's good. It's not overheating. So now that it's been at operating temp for a few minutes, I'll go ahead and shut it off, let it sit like I said. I saw one other person on YouTube had a similar experience with the heat where they lost heat until they went down the road. So yeah, the heat's back on. It didn't overheat or anything. Now we are at the number 2. Run engine until thermostat opens or normal operating temperature is reached. Turn vehicle off and allow engine to cool. This may take 30 minutes or longer. So we'll leave it sitting. We'll come back here in about an hour or so. It's been 1 hour. Let it cool down. So now we're on to step 3. Top off radiator. Add coolant as needed. And either run temperature at high idle or drive the vehicle for 15 minutes. So I'm going to go drive it for 15 minutes. Let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, you can see turned into like dog hair. That's the fibers to block everything up. So see a little bit in there. Let's go ahead and top it off and take it down the road. As soon as I cranked it up this time, I have full hot heat, so whatever was blocking the heat is now fixed, and we'll go on a 15-minute little ride and try to keep it below like 1800 RPMs. We're a couple miles away. It's been about 10 minutes, no leaks. Hey bud. And it's not overheating. So it hasn't got above like 186 or so, so everything seems to be normal. So I'll give it a couple days, do a couple heat cycles, I'll keep driving it, and then we'll do the fluid test again, see if it turns green again after a couple days of driving, a couple hundred miles. Alright, here we are back. It's been about a week, put a couple hundred miles on the truck, no problems, it hasn't overheated, no weird anything. Now we're going to do the head gasket fluid test again and see if it stays blue this time instead of turning green. And let's see what it looks like under the cap. Yeah, we got that residue. So I'm going to hope that the head gasket doesn't leak any. And whenever it's sealed, hopefully sealed, I'm going to do two water flushes with this, and then I'm going to start tearing down all the parts. We're going to take the water pump off, the hoses, the thermostat. I'm going to take a Sawzall through this factory radiator because I've got a better one to put on it. And we're going to see if any of these passages and ports have been blocked up or damaged by this head gasket repair. But yeah, that's kind of like the fiber stuff that's going to plug up everything. But let's see if it fixed it. We're going to run the exact same test we did at the beginning. So we got our plug in there and we got it zip tied down to where any exhaust gases or expansion gases can't escape out of here. We got the cap off, got the plug in, we got the test tube in with the fluid in. I didn't put as much in this time because last time about had some bubble out, and last time when I let off the gas too quick it sucked a little bit back through, so I'll be sure not to let off the gas too quick. So yeah, let's run another 15-minute test. We just cranked it with a cold engine, so we're going to let it run for 15 minutes, and hopefully that's going to stay blue.
Hyperlapse.
Okay, I just turned the truck off right before this started coming up in it, but it stayed blue. One thing I'm going to say, if you do this, make sure you leave enough air gap in your radiator door whenever it starts expanding, you know, it don't come into here like it's about to do. But it's at full operating temp right now. I just shut the truck off when I noticed the coolant starting to expand in here. But the fluid stayed completely blue. It didn't turn at all. So it looks like the head gasket is fixed. My phone's been going for right at 15 minutes now, and it stayed blue. So it appears that this stuff really did fix our head gasket problem. So now what I'm going to do, what I'm interested in seeing, is if this head gasket repair clogged up anything. So I'm going to go ahead and let it cool off, and then I'm going to drain everything and do 2 water flushes, and then we're going to pull all the parts off and check them out to see if anything's been clogged up. Drain all this out. So that is after the first drain. You can see all that glittery stuff in there. See all that fiber material suspended in the coolant. So that's after the first drain. I'm going to drain it, and it's the first drain. I'm going to fill it up with water, go drive it, go through a heat cycle, drain it again, fill it back up with water, let it do another heat cycle and drain it. So I'm going to flush it twice with water before I start tearing all the parts off of it to check for any blockages. Just got back from like a 15-minute drive, fully operational temp, and what's interesting is before, anytime I topped off the radiator all the way and went for a ride, as soon as it got hot, it would blow out coolant around here, you know, and splatter out here. But I just went on like a 15-minute ride, and it's been at max temps for at least 10 minutes going down the interstate, and it's like it's June right now, and it's probably like 80 degrees outside, so it's not cool. It's hot outside, and there's no blowout under this cap. So, you know, the fluid stayed blue, which is great, and now I'm not blowing out any coolant underneath the radiator cap, which is great. So now I'm going to drain it again and do 1 more water flush. Here's after the first flush of water. So it's still got a little bit of stuff in there, but not as much as the first flush. Here's the second flush drain, and pretty clean, but it still has a little bit of glitter left in it. I think I'm going to do 1 more. See it better there. I think I'm going to do 1 more flush. So this is the 3rd water flush, and it's still got stirred up some, suspend all them particles. It's still got a decent amount of glitter in it, but all that like dog hair is gone out of it now. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the parts, three flushes. I might do another flush after I get all the new parts on, but we'll go ahead and pull everything off right now. So, does this stuff work? Head gasket repair absolutely works. Absolutely. So, after we poured this stuff in there and we ran it a couple days, couple hundred miles, we retested it and the fluid stayed blue. Head gasket fixed. Now, we just pulled all the parts off. I'm going to show you it didn't clog up anything. Here is the water pump. Nothing clogged. Everything looks good. Here's the thermostat. Got a little bit of silver sparkle in there. Another probably 1 or 2 water flushes would have took care of that. Here's upper radiator hose. clean, no issues there. So, got all the old parts on the back of the tailgate. Here we are. So here's the upper radiator hose, clean. Lower radiator hose, clean. That's a little spring in there that keeps the hose from collapsing, but it is clean. No issues with the lower radiator hose. Thermostat. Let's check out the thermostat. This side is absolutely clean, no clogs, no dog hair. There's a little bit of, I guess, like gasket material or something on this lower spring there that has nothing to do with what we done. It must have been a gasket or something from inside the engine, or when someone put this thermostat. This is an aftermarket 195. I'm going to be putting a 180 in it. On the other side, get my phone to focus, there's a little bit down there in the corner. Another, like I said, another one or two water flushes would have took care of that. Water pump, clean, no dog hair, no problems. Radiator, cut the end caps off. This is the lower cap. You can see that's where the transmission cooler lines go, which that transmission cooler is a joke. That ain't hardly doing anything, but pretty clean. There's a little bit left over here. Like I said, probably we done 3 water flushes. It probably needs 4 or 5 water flushes. Would have took care of all that. Top cap, same thing, clean. And the one I was most interested in is the radiator. Clean. I'm going to hold this up to the light in a second and you'll see all these are open. No issues. Nothing clogged up. Okay, we're out here in the dark here and I got my little light. And I'm going to shine it through the backside and try to show you none of these are clogged at all. So, put our light on the backside. I'm going to show you, hopefully, none of these channels are clogged. So you get the picture. Perfect. Nothing's wrong with it.
A few months later.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a couple months, put a couple 100 miles on the truck, still don't have any problems with the head gasket, and I've not been easy on it. I've been towing stuff. Yesterday I towed a couple ton of gravel, just got back from doing a job with my tractor. The tractor weighs like 3,500 pounds, trailer's like 2,500, so close to 6,000–7,000 pounds I've been towing, and still no problems with the head gasket. And also under the hood, I'm not having any more of the coolant come spraying out under the cap. Nothing's getting over pressurized. My coolant tank, it's going up and down as it gets hot and cold. So everything's just totally normal, good to go. And in the comments, I'll put how many miles the truck has on it since the head gasket repair and how long it's been. And over time, I'll keep updating it to make it up to date so you guys know how many miles I put on it and how long it's been since it's been fixed. So far so good. Couple 100 miles, couple months later, this stuff works really well. Thumbs up.